Hello, 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 and welcome to today's episode of Her Version. This podcast is dedicated to sharing stories of struggle to triumph, a platform that allows individuals to tell their truth in order to inspire and uplift others. For those of you that are new to this podcast and like content like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you follow, like, and share. I am your host, Sabrina Victoria. Let's jump right in. I so love it when there's people waiting in the wings to jump on when we come on live. Thank you so much for those of you that are already jumping on. We appreciate you. We appreciate the support for the Her Version community. Remember, this platform is built on storytelling and the understanding that many times our greatest learning experiences come from listening to other people's stories. Today, I am speaking with an amazing woman named Rachael Burns. Rachael has always had a strong desire to understand happiness and what helps us as humans to continually move away from suffering and live the most fulfilling and joyful life possible. This stemmed from her journey of internal turmoil, having experienced the mental imprisonment of anorexia and depression. Her story is filled with challenges that she had to overcome in order to find her authentic self. Rachael is passionate about eating clean, yoga, and overall wellness for humanity. Welcome, Rachael. That's about it.
Thank you, Sabrina.
I'd love to talk to you about challenges. You know, throughout your life, you've been through a journey. You are where you are now. Looking back, what do you think is the greatest challenge that you've had, and what did you learn from it?
Another great question. I have to say, I think rather than it being one specific challenge, there's been many medium challenges along the way. And possibly the hardest one has been owning my own story and telling my story to the world and not being afraid to say, this is what I was going through or I am going through, and being okay with being fully seen. Not the bits that people, that I want to let people see, but just allowing people to see me as I am and being authentic. It was the biggest challenge, but the most liberating experience of all. As I learned through it, that the moment that we are fully authentic, we then allow the people who come into contact with us to not have to adjust who they are so that we feel comfortable around them. And I realized that through not being authentic, it was also making the people around me feel that they had to adjust who they were so that I was comfortable.
Wow.
And so by being authentic, we allow everybody who comes into contact with us to know it's okay if you've got a bad day. If you're having a bad day, it's okay if you've got challenges with X, Y, Z. It's okay to be human.
Yeah.
You don't have to show your highlight reel. It's okay to also have bad days.
Yeah. How old were you when you came to that realization? The importance of being authentic.
Ooh, I think that's also been a gradual one.
Okay. When did it start? How old were you when you first came to Bay?
That's more recent. Through yogic practices and different workshops, the facing up to things that made me really uncomfortable. So one of them was eye contact. And we had to be in a session where we had to sit for 2 minutes and gaze into somebody's eyes. And it was the most uncomfortable 2 minutes of my life.
What emotions came up? Did any emotions come up?
I was crying. Yeah, I was, because it was allowing myself to be seen.
Yeah.
And being uncomfortable there and sitting with that. After that workshop, it was a full weekend. After that weekend, I was flying, I was soaring, because I'd faced something that scared me so much, and I'd allowed myself to be there, and I'd come out the other side. Yeah. And there was this sense of pride in self and just having let go of something that had constrained me from being fully happy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I highly recommend the eye contact one to anybody who comes across that in their world, as far as doing that as an exercise, because 100% an impact. I still remember, I've done it twice, and I still remember like the people, like vividly what they look like and the emotions that were pouring out. That's awesome.
So was yours a recent experience?
30. I'm about to be 40. I turned 40 in August, and I went to the Landmark Forum. That was my first one. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. It's a class. That was the first one. It was with a man who was probably like 15 years my senior, and we stared at each other standing. Was yours standing or sitting?
Sitting.
Sitting. See, I've done it sitting too. It's easier to do it sitting. Standing is so, it's almost like being naked. Because when you're sitting, you can kind of like hold your hands in your lap, or you're more like, at least for me, not trying to project, but like, you know, I was like close to my body. So like I was with myself. Standing, we had to have our hands by our sides. And I just literally, I was so, might have been because it was the first time I've ever done it too. So maybe that's why it was so much more impactful. But for me, the sitting one was less, but it was also my second time doing it. And it was also with a female.
Okay.
But that was during yoga. It was some sort of a yoga retreat that I went on. That's awesome. I love that. Very exciting.